Hello guys, how are you?
I'm Hardeep Singh. Welcome back to your own YouTube channel. IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test, and speaking, you got guesswork. Please, guys, participate in everyday listening and reading practice test to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Press the bell icon for the upcoming notifications. Don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams.
Part 1.
You will hear two colleagues, Marcus and Ella, discussing details about the coming office party. First, you have some time to look at questions 1 to 5.
Okay, Ella. As you know, you and I have to make the big decision about in which restaurant we are going to hold our office celebration.
Well, we're celebrating 20 years of operation, so I think it has to be a good restaurant, something which will really impress people and make them think better of the company.
We do have a budget, though. It's how much?
$2,000, and that should be enough for a good meal.
Actually, it's $3,000, not $2,000. I confirmed that today.
That should be enough for a great meal then.
Well, this is a significant milestone. So, should we go for a buffet meal at a local hotel? All you can eat? Something like that?
The Chesterfield Hotel has good food. I've eaten there before. Very impressive.
Yes, I've got the brochure here. Do you know how much it costs? The full buffet banquet is beyond us, I'm afraid.
Yes, but we don't have to get the banquet. They have set meals for cheaper prices. Show me the brochure. What about this? Set meals C is $50 a head, and that's just within our price range. It includes a main meal with prawns, and there's other seafood as well. Look, there's even a seafood platter with crabs, oysters, everything you like.
But not everyone likes seafood. Let me see the brochure. Actually, set meal D looks better to me. More meat-based.
How much is it?
Meal A is $70, B is $60, and so on. So D is even cheaper at $45.
Okay, and we could spend the money we save on other things, such as a lottery present or something.
The main meal is lamb, and everyone likes that, right? It comes with soup, dessert, coffee, all the frills that you'd expect.
What's the soup?
Actually, all the meals come with soup. Meal A is lobster soup, B is prawn, C is clam, but ours is chicken.
Ah, I like that. Chicken is simple but tasty. All those seafood soups are not nearly as nice.
So, why don't we take meal D then?
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 6 to 10.
All right, we've picked the restaurant and meal for this celebration, so that just leaves the time and date to be decided.
We need to do it soon. This month is the 20th anniversary, so what about the 14th?
14th? But wouldn't it be better to do it after the end of quarter reports are handed in? That way everyone will feel more relaxed. That's the 18th, after the middle of the month.
Good thinking. That's why you're the office manager and I'm not.
And that leaves the starting time. After work, but not too late, right?
Well, any time is fine, I should think. 7 p.m., 7:30, 8 p.m. Does it really matter?
Not too late, though. 8 p.m. is too late. 7 p.m. might be too early for those submitting the end-of-day accounts.
Split the difference then, take the middle time. That will please everyone.
Sounds fine by me. Let's do that then. Now, that leaves the minor details, about clothes and what to bring and...
Clothes? Isn't this an informal event?
Yes, but it is an anniversary and we don't want people in jeans and jogging shoes. We don't necessarily want formal dress either.
I agree. Formal is formal. Smart casual is better. Let's just say smart casual, okay?
Okay. And should we allow smoking?
Isn't that the hotel's decision? Do they allow smoking?
They do, in designated areas, well away from the eating tables.
Personally, I hate smoking and would like to ban it completely from this function, but to be reasonable, I think we can just follow the hotel's policy. If they allow it, so can we.
Okay, that sounds fine. That just leaves...
Whether the guests should bring anything with them? I think it would be a nice idea if everyone bought a...
Let me guess, a card, right? A getting to know you card.
No, a present, a small present, of course, to be put into a large box, and then everyone can reach inside and pull out something. A lucky dip. That should be a good laugh, don't you think?
Great idea.
That is the end of part 1.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 2.
You will hear a construction worker and university officer discussing the effects of some new construction on the university premises. First, you have some time to look at questions 11 to 15.
Hello, Helen, is it?
Yes, that's right. And let me begin by saying that your construction is already causing considerable disturbance to our student body.
I'm afraid we have deadlines to meet, but you did ask for a timetable. We can certainly try to do the noisiest work at specific times when it least disrupts the students.
Good. I've already emailed you about sensitive times of the day. Obviously, our lunch period is the best time for you to do all the noisy work.
Yes, and as a result, in that time we are reserving all the jackhammer and drilling work necessary for breaking up the old concrete paths. So that will be between noon and 1:30 p.m. It will result in some delays to us, but not enough to significantly put us behind. So we're happy to do it at that time. The other time you mentioned as favourable for our noisiest work is after 5 p.m. As you know, due to the deadlines, we work at night to 8 p.m.
Yes, I see the lights at night when I walk to my car.
Well, we can similarly put most of the digging of earth, or in other words, the excavation, to that time. And that work is certainly noisy due to the engines of the earth-moving vehicles. Inevitably, of course, there must be some noise during the day, and I think that the best we can do is concentrate it at one specific time so that at least you can anticipate it. That time will be from 10 a.m. to noon. We've just finished cutting down and sawing up all the trees, so that morning period will now primarily be involved with the pouring of concrete. That must be done early in the day to allow the concrete to harden during the daylight hours. It will involve considerable noise, I'm afraid, mostly from the trucks and concrete mixers, so expect some racket in those 2 hours.
So what will happen in the late afternoon? Will it be quiet enough for exam work?
I believe so, since in that first hour and a half we'll be having our lunch break, and in the remaining 2 hours, we'll just be making the concrete look nice. You know, removing leaves, broken pieces, and making it all level and flat before it hardens. So the noise will certainly be at a minimum in that period of time.
Before you hear the rest of the talk, you have some time to look at questions 16 to 20.
Well, it's good to know this construction activity won't disturb us too much, and I trust it's all worth it. Perhaps you can tell me how this new plaza will look when it's all finished. Can you give me some idea of the final appearance?
Oh, it's going to look very nice. For a start, right now we've just got concrete paths, and as you can see, we're breaking that up and removing it, and soon we'll be laying polished stone.
Really? Stone? And polished too?
Yes, it will look very good, nice and shiny, giving a touch of class. The university is certainly spending some money on this. I guess it will be the showcase plaza, especially with a fountain as well in the front corner. And there'll be shops too at the back in that other corner area. Right now it's just empty space, but soon you'll be able to buy things there, not just from one shop either, but many. I suppose that will help the university draw some income as well. And see that long narrow part on the left-hand side? We had planned to put seating there, but we soon realised that wasn't such a good idea. We thought about a coffee shop, but finally decided that it would be better to have a garden, since there's so much natural sunlight around that area, so that's what we're doing. It should look very nice indeed, particularly when it grows a bit. And after some thought, it was decided to put the seating in the centre of the plaza, since being right in the middle allows everyone to be seen, and everyone to see everything, creating a very fun atmosphere. Along those same lines, that is, in order to create a better atmosphere, we're changing the facade of the buildings facing into the plaza. Right now there's nothing there, just walls without any ornamentation. We thought that we could either paint them with interesting pictures, perhaps with modern art or that sort of thing, but then decided to simply hang plants there, in keeping with the natural look of the place.
Well, keep up the good work. I'm sure it's going to look wonderful when it's all finished.
That is the end of part 2.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to part 3.
You will hear two students, Frank and Nicole, discussing their survey results. First, you have some time to look at questions 21 to 25.
Okay, Nicole, did you interview the required 50 people?
Yes, I have them all here. I had intended to talk to over 50 actually, but I could only talk to 46 in the end, all students from the university. It should be fine for our purposes, and it was interesting actually to hear what they said.
I was hoping for 50 to make a round number. Better for statistical purposes, but 46 should be okay.
I think so. What was interesting was that many of them were not happy with the staff here.
Really? What proportion?
Well, 1/4 of them said the staff were okay, and another 10% said they were good, which together makes about 1/3. So basically, the rest of the people I interviewed weren't happy in this respect.
So, what was the main cause of complaint?
Well, it's rather mixed. A lot of the foreign students complained about the homestay accommodation and the attitude of the homestay officers when dealing with these issues. Most of the foreign students said this actually, but the bulk of the mainstream students had concerns with the attitude of the teachers. It seems they feel the teachers don't care enough, and facilities weren't that important, relatively speaking.
I think the teachers here are okay. Don't you think so, Nicole?
Personally, I'd say most of them are fine. But obviously there are a few I'd say need to improve in their commitment to helping students.
Oh, not many though. Only about 10% maybe.
More, I'd say. At least 1/3.
Wow, Nicole, that's a bit harsh. That many? I'd say 90% of the teachers here are fine.
I think I definitely disagree there.
Well, whatever the case, the university seems to have some problems. Who should we inform about these findings?
The course convener. He runs our programme.
Yeah, just a small program. These problems are serious and university-wide. I think we should talk to the assistant dean at least.
Come on, we're just a couple of students. We can't go that high. It's like some cleaners wanting to talk to the CEO. We've got to follow the chain of command and start at the bottom.
Okay, the course convener it is.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 26 to 30.
So, Nicole, can you explain the technique you used for interviewing people? Every time I try interviewing, I seem to encounter problems, and yet you manage to interview so many people so quickly. What's the secret?
It's really quite simple. Let me explain it all. The first step, and this is probably the most important point, is to select the position or the location where you're going to do the interviewing. It's got to be a good one. For me, it was the university cafeteria at lunchtime, where people would be relaxed, have time, be sitting down, and be more willing to speak.
Ah, clever.
But that leads to the next point. Everyone's in a hurry these days, so you've got to immediately confirm that they can in fact spare some moments to answer your questions. There's no point starting and then having them rush off in the middle of the interview. It just ruins everything.
Yeah, that's happened to me a few times actually.
And then it's equally important to carefully outline why you want to talk to them in the first place. Some people might think you're a salesman or a busybody or some nutcase from a religious cult. They have to know the purpose and trust you. Now, part of that trust involves guaranteeing that the information will be kept in total confidence. And for that reason, I show how we don't take down names or any personal data. After that, you're ready to begin, but sometimes they're not won over or not ready to give you the time, in which case you remind them about how their information can actually improve life for all students, and that they are actually serving the purposes of everyone by cooperating.
Right. Make it seem like a noble cause.
It is in a way, but the last step is not so noble at all. I just offer them a payback, usually a scratchy lottery ticket, if they promise to answer all the questions. Everyone dreams of scratching one of those tickets and winning $1 million, so that makes them do everything you want.
Aha, very clever.
That is the end of part 3.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Now turns to Part 4.
You will hear a lecturer discussing human resource management. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Obviously, the people who work in companies need to be managed. Pay must be added up, hours clocked, and leave tallied. This is known as hard human resource management, or hard HRM. This is because it is based on hard numbers, facts and rules. That is, an impersonal, calculative aspect. And again, there must be such an outlook, with all its paper-based systems, in order to carry out company tasks. But if there's a hard, there must be a soft. And it is this soft element of HRM that I'd like to consider now. Historically, it took a long while before the importance of this soft element was realized. Originally, for example, in Henry Ford's car-making factories, workers were regarded as unthinking tools who would mindlessly repeat the same task for 8 hours a day. This attitude worked for a while. However, the Ford Motor Company faced the growing challenges of huge turnover, lack of motivation, declining quality of their product, and labor disputes. It eventually became clear that the original ethos about workers was wrong. It needed to take their human needs more into account. That leads us to the modern soft HRM model, where the staff, or human resources, are now considered one of the most important assets a company may have, an asset just as tangible as the factories, shops, and money in the bank, and something that needs to be managed in a soft way as well as hard. So, what is soft HRM? It basically involves 3 elements. One is motivating your staff. The second is making sure they stay with your company, that is, reducing turnover. And remember, turnover costs money, diverts resources, disturbs the system, and you may be losing a lot of experience there in just one staff member. The third element is using the staff in the best way, in a way that gets the most out of them. All of these elements are closely related and sometimes overlap, but are still distinct enough to be considered separately. Now, let's talk about motivation first. Obviously, people will work harder if they feel good about being where they are. This means the company should let people know that they are significant, and you do that by emphasizing the higher purpose their job serves in society as a whole. And this sense of higher purpose will drive people onwards. So, for example, if the company makes paper, have a motivation session, letting them all understand the importance of paper to modern society, and it is important. Basically, everything is important when you think about it, so make this fact clear to all. As for keeping staff, well, that also comes from motivation. But do you know the number one reason why people leave jobs? The answer? Because they don't feel appreciated. So, you need to make sure that they have this feeling. How? At its simplest, the boss can say thank you to the staff. You can remember their birthdays, bring out a cake, celebrate milestones, take them to a restaurant once in a while, and say thank you again. But more importantly, mean it sincerely. If this is going to work, sincerity is very important here. Well, we've motivated the staff and retained them with the company, so now we've got to use them optimally. This is often done by getting them to participate more in the key decisions. This has 2 advantages. 1, the employees feel more in control of their destinies, helping again with motivation and retention. And 2, the company tends to make better decisions. Remember, often it is the people closest to the customer who can really tell you the very best things about what works and what doesn't. The modern organization realizes that Insight, knowledge, and clever innovation can come from anyone in the company, no matter how close or far from the decision-making process they may be.
That is the end of part 4.
You now have half a minute to check your answers.
So guys, don't forget like, subscribe and share my YouTube channel and my Facebook page, IELTS updates and recent exams. For more updates related to recent IELTS exam writing test topics, listening, reading, practice test and speaking, you got guesswork. Please guys, participate in everyday new IELTS listening and reading practice tests to achieve your desired band score in your actual IELTS exam. For more IELTS material, visit my official website www.ieltsupdatesandrecentexams.com. The link is given below in the description. If you need PDF files of latest IELTS material, then please join my Telegram channel. So guys, please write your score below the comment section. Again, thanks for listening. God bless you all guys. Stay tuned, stay safe.